Hello everyone, PG Team America here, and today I am analyzing the deck submissions for the Hearthstone Global Invitational Mercenaries portion. So, starting off, there are certain deck limitations restricting it. So, here are the rules. There is going to be 4 decks, you get to ban one, and then it's a best of 5 conquest. So, you have to win with every deck that doesn't get banned. Um, you There cannot be 4 or more of the same mercenary between any of the 2 decks, and each merc can only appear in 3 or less. So basically, you can only bring Karen Diablo in 3 of your decks, and then the last one cannot have Karen and Diablo. So those are the rules. We're starting off looking at NA. So their first deck is the Nature Samuro hybrid, where you have Malfurion and Brukan playing nature spells, healing you up, and they both have a 4 speed spell, so both of them can trigger Samaru to start, so you can burst something down early, and um, yeah, it has some vulnerabilities, but the deck that's most vulnerable to is Shadow Comp, and those will mostly be banned. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. Then you got your Karen Diablo, and Anduin can he can do a lot on his own. You can bring him in, and if they don't take out Malfurion first, uh, that combo of Malfurion and Anduin can burst out of control. But also, one thing that a lot of the regions did is they made it so all of their decks were 2 red, 2 green, and 2 blue. So that makes it so that when you queue it up and the battle is starting, there isn't this issue where you know what you're going up against and you can change what you put out there. So that's a very advantageous setup to have that most of the regions restricted themselves to. But Anduin is just a good finisher. So that's deck one. Deck two is the spicy comp that I recommended to the NA players because it is like it doesn't run Karen Diablo and it's an anti-meta comp where you start with Rexar, King Crush, and King Mukla, and then the bench is Gruul with the fire resist equipment, giving your characters +5 fire resist. And then it also has Anduin and Velen, which once you get through Samuro, um, usually the only green left is Diablo. But if you can get Gruul, Anduin, and Velen down at the same time, they're basically unkillable once Samuro is dead. So it's basically just anti meta because a lot of the times they'll kill multiple beasts at the same time. So like there is counterplay, but I think this is a really good comp that will feast on Diablo and blue because Beast kill blue and Diablo struggles against Gruul when he also has healing here. So it is I think it's a good comp. I'm happy they brought it. And now their third deck that I the deck that is it's inspired by the deck that I hit rank 1 NA with, and it is Tavish, Jaina, Dawngrass, Karen Diablo, and because of their fourth deck is running Ragnaros here, they decided to go with Malfurion to keep up the 2/2/2. This deck you want to have another red, I think, to help you kill Diablo. So Malfurion, they just felt was a solid. I didn't actually. I haven't done any testing with a deck like this. Like I think you could use Lich King or Thrall in the spot as well, but they went with Malfurion. Can't really blame them. I am a little worried about this deck though because it can struggle against the greedier decks in that it can't kill Anduin like ever. So um I am a little concerned about this deck potentially being a weak spot for them, but it also has a lot of good aspects about it. And then the last deck, this comp is basically being ran by everybody. I think it's among the best. It's Shadow comp. It's Natalie, Vol'jin, Samaru, Diablo, Karen, Ragnaros. It's it's just it has a lot of good matchups, except against that Gruul comp, which can actually beat it. So I expect almost everyone to ban this. NA is the only region that I think is in any position to potentially leave it up because of that Gruul. But I just think this will get banned by everybody because you can't, it destroys Malfurion, it destroys Anduin. Basically, a lot of the secondary comps can't exist on the ladder because of this. So yeah, I think NA has a strong set of decks, and I mean, it'll depend on how it's played, but I think they will do well. And now, moving on. Okay. And now, the APAC decks. So, starting off, um, they're running the Malfurion Brucon Nature Samaru package. They decided to opt for Cookie, which makes your Malfurion more resilient to getting bursted down. I think if you're going to be banning Shadow Comp, it might not be the best choice because Cookie is pretty trash off the. I'm not a big fan of Cookie. I've really struggled using him. Um, he's just so much less powerful off as the unit himself, even though he adds the 54 health. I just haven't been having the success with him. So I'm just not that big of a fan. I do think there is a place for him in the meta. I just haven't found a very useful place for him. Um, we'll see. Like I the comp is fine. I think I think I prefer Anduin there. Their next deck is the exact deck that I hit number one NA with, the Tavish Jaina Dawngrasp CD Ragnaros. I'm just gonna start saying CD instead of Karen Diablo for the rest of the video. It's everywhere. um, but yeah, so it's just a solid control start. Like I said, the issue again is that this comp struggles to kill Malfurion comps and Anduin comps. So I think it can struggle, but it's also a very versatile comp. I like it. And then they brought the exact Shadow comp as well. Very strong comp. I expect this to be the comp that gets banned most. And their fourth comp, Malfurion, Anduin, Mukla, Samuro. This Samuro has a Sash of Illusion, Cookie, and Sylvanas. So this comp seems kind of flexible. I think so. Normally, you will start Malfurion, Anduin, Mukla to try and make a gigantic Anduin. Mukla has two nature spells with at 3 and 2 speed, so combined with Malfurion, actually heals your comp quite a bit. And then Cookie is also making them quite resilient to early burst. So, and you can't run Karen or Diablo, so it's running Sylvanas, which combined with the Mukla's brother and the illusions will be able to build up a ton of damage, and it'll also be using the death rattle, so that'll be interesting. There's a decent amount of counterplay with it, like Varden can freeze before it can use the move that gives it a ton of attack, so that you can really, there's a lot of counterplay for the death rattle Sylvanas, and it's pretty vulnerable. So I have some concern. I think that this deck will be an issue for them, but I don't know. There's a chance that the decks they go up against just won't be able to kill Malfurion and Anduin, and in that case, you just win off that. I don't think that Sylvanas will be a big piece of this comp. So, overall, I like their comps. I think it's slightly weaker than NA so far, but we'll go on to see the rest before I give my final conclusions. All right, and now the Chinese decks. So they are actually running the same deck that APAC was running with Nature Samaru with Cookie on the bench. And again, I disagree with running Cookie because I just don't think that Malfurion and Brukan are as vulnerable if you're not going up against Shadow Comp, which I assume is going to be banned in every match, which makes it a lot less valuable. I haven't played this mirror, I guess. I don't know if in the mirror your Malfurion dies instantly without Cookie. And that could be the case, but just my instinct still says that you don't need Cookie, and you're better off bringing an actual unit in that spot that will help you win the game later. But moving on. So this deck is actually similar to one of the new decks that I've been playing with on stream, which I actually wish. I think this deck kind of replaces the deck I hit number 1 with, or similarly. And it is the Tavish, Varden, Cairn start, where, actually, let me double check. I want to see what item they're running on. Yeah, they are running the 25 damage shot on Tavish, which makes it so you can act. So Tavish is doing 50 damage a turn if he doesn't get hit to blues, which is actually insane. And then it's got Ragnaros and Geddon on the bench to help you clean up. I prefer Blink Fox in this spot, using Mana Blink, but I mean, Geddon is still pretty strong with Tavish or Ragnaros, so I could see it. It's a strong comp, and I think it'll do well. And then we have the Shadow comp. I'm actually just gonna confirm this one more time. Wait, yeah, they are bringing Shadow comp, right? Yes, I'm not insane. Okay. Shadow comp as well. It'll be banned, I assume, but everyone's bringing the Shadow comp. It's very powerful. And then they are also bringing the deck that's similar to APAC's with Malfurion, Anduin, Mukla, Samaru with Sash of Illusion, Cookie, and Sylvanas. I'm not very familiar with this comp, but it's like there are comps that just can't kill Anduin, which is really strong. Samaru off the bench can be okay, and Sylvanas can be strong. So I do think this is a solid 4th comp to bring without the Cairn or Diablo. I think it's fine. The Gruul deck with the Beast, I think I prefer, but this is fine. Probably. I think it's very capable of getting a win. So I think that the Chinese decks are they brought the new Tavish comp, which I think will put them ahead of APAC. But I still think, so yeah, they might actually have the best decks. But I'll do a full analysis once I'm done looking at Europe's decks. So let's go on to that. Now, the EU decks. So the EU decks are pretty suspect. I actually gave Tice some advice, and either he didn't listen to me, or Hunter Race overruled him, or Hunter Race is a genius and overruled. I don't know, but I am quite concerned about their decks. They start off with Arthurian Brucan Samuro. It's worth noting that all of EU's Samuros are running Sash of Illusion, which I think is only good against Shadow, with how the matchups work. Because you kill Vol'jin turn 1, and then you can Sash of Illusion to kill Natalie turn 2 in a lot of the matchups. But in the other matchups, it's not as good. So it's pretty suspect, I think. I'm not sure how this comp will operate exactly. They might actually start Guff. I've never seen this. I feel like you have to start with Samaru, but I haven't seen Guff in the meta for a long time because he can get bursted down so quickly. I'm just not a fan of this comp at all, really. To be honest, I just don't think Guff has a place in it. Moving on. This is their wild. This is their no Karen or Diablo comp. So it's Shadow, and then it has Anduin, Malfurion, and Blink Fox on the bench. So this comp is just hoping that the Shadow package just wins the game, it looks like, and then it's trying to build a gigantic Anduin on the backside. I'm pretty worried about this comp. It's just gonna die to Diablo. I don't see it. I am so scared for this comp. Because also they didn't go by the 222, which I did recommend to them to run so that they could hide what they put out. But they decided against it, and they're running 4 blues. So when they run this comp, you know exactly what you're going up against. So I don't see how this comp wins. Like, the Beast comp will just eat it for breakfast that NA has, and Diablo will just eat the rest of it. I have concerns. And then, so their Shadow comp, they're running Cookie in it. But again, it's not unique. It has 3 blues, so you know what's being ran. I don't know how this works out. I don't think it changes the breakpoints enough. Like, I think you can still just kill Vol'jin turn 1. You just have to target it twice. So, like, even the mirror isn't affected by putting Cookie in. So I think it's just weaker than... And you know what's coming. So I just think every aspect of this deck is weaker. It's also running... Oh, maybe it's better if the opponent is running Blade of Illusion, but most of the Shadow comps are running Burning Blade now because of the amount of matchups that it's better in. So I don't know. I think that this is just a weaker version of Shadow comp. And here we have the Malfurion, Ando, and Mukla with Cookie. Like I've said before, I don't like Cookie in this comp unless you're going up against Shadow comp, but I assume that Shadow comp is being banned by most people, so making Cookie not as good. Because, like, Shadow comp is such a pain in the butt, I feel like you're better off banning it than leaving it up. Because even with this, it still just gets there and kills your Anduin most of the time. Like, it can't do it turn 1, but it's like, it's gonna get there and kill Anduin. and then you just lose. So, yeah, I I am concerned about EU. So, looking at all of the decks, I would rank the decks. I would put EU fourth. Then I think I would put APAC. And then I think China and NA are close to each other. I might give a slight edge to China, but it's honestly so close that I think it's very similar. It'll depend on the matchups and the play of the players. So yeah, I would say the only strong statement I can make is that I will be impressed if Europe can win a match. Um, it is going to take very strong play for them to win a match with this comp. I just don't like it. I mean, they're good. They're very intelligent players, so maybe they've discovered something that a lot of people just haven't seen yet. So, but yeah, that's it for now. I will try to get information on when matches are happening and maybe put in description. I have no idea for now when any of this is happening. I just saw the decks and thought I would analyze them. Um, if you like or if you enjoyed, please be sure you like, subscribe, comment. You can join the Discord and check me out every day, twitch.tv/TeamAmerica. Thanks for watching.